Once upon a time, in a small neighborhood nestled between the hills, a group of kids decided to form their own detective agency. They had grown tired of the monotony of their days and were eager for some excitement. So they gathered in the park, each armed with a notebook and a pencil, ready to solve any mystery that came their way. Their first case came sooner than they expected. Mrs. Johnson, an elderly lady who lived on the corner, had reported that her prized rosebush had been stolen from her garden. The kids were quick to take on the case, eager to prove their detective skills. They began their investigation by questioning Mrs. Johnson and her neighbors. Some had seen a suspicious figure lurking around the garden the night before, but nobody could identify who it was. The kids searched the area for clues and eventually found a footstep in the mud that led to a nearby shed. They cautiously approached the shed, peering through the cracks in the door. Inside, they saw the rosebush, still in its pot, and a pair of muddy boots. They knew they had found the culprit. They called the police, who arrived quickly and arrested the thief. It turned out to be a young man who had been down on his luck and had been stealing to make ends meet. The kids were praised for their detective work, and Mrs. Johnson was thrilled to have her rosebush returned. From then on, the kids were known as the neighborhood detectives. They solved all kinds of mysteries, big and small. They found lost pets, uncovered missing items, and even helped the police solve a few cases. They became famous in the neighborhood, and people would often approach them with their problems. One particularly challenging case involved a series of burglaries that had been happening in the area. The police had been unable to catch the culprit, so the kids decided to take matters into their own hands. They set up a stakeout, hiding in a nearby treehouse and watching for any suspicious activity. After several nights of waiting, they finally saw something. A shadowy figure was sneaking around one of the houses, trying to break in. The kids quickly called the police, who arrived just in time to catch the burglar in the act. The kids were hailed as heroes, and their detective agency became more popular than ever. They even got their own office, a small shed in the park where they could meet with clients and work on their cases. As the years went by, the kids grew up and went their separate ways, but they never forgot the adventures they had as the neighborhood detectives. They remained lifelong friends and would often get together to reminisce about their days as amateur sleuths. And who knows, maybe someday they'll come out of retirement to solve one last mystery.